All those in favor? Okay, none opposed, so that carries.
The next item on my list is the precautionary principle in 6.9, and I do not have a resolution or recommendation about this, but just a comment, because I'm getting a lot of email about the precautionary principle and people telling us that they're opposed to it. They don't give grounds in many cases, but I'll tell you, if you, these people have never raised teenagers, in my opinion. If you're not talking to your kids as they grow up about the precautionary principle, you're missing something serious. Anytime you say to somebody you should practice safe sex, or you should phone me before you leave the party if you're not in any condition to drive home, you're practicing the precautionary principle, and it makes a lot of sense. If we had a rezoning application to do something on the shoreline of one of our drinking water lakes, and there was a thought that, geez, this development might contaminate the water in the lake, and people don't think we ought to be exercising the precautionary principle on a situation like that, where we could put the drinking water of thousands of people at risk, they're missing the picture. So I support the precautionary principle. I don't think we should take it out. I'm getting lots of things that say get rid of the precautionary principle. Sorry, not for me. I think it should stay. That's my
Did you
comment.
want to give some direction as to maybe like
No,
what we would need to do?
It's already in the plan. We've got
Already in there.
some language that suggests maybe the language is not enough or something, but
Okay.
I don't think I need to do
So we can take that as direction then, that when staff are looking at this, and this includes definitions, that we want to make sure that if there are unclear definitions or there's confusion about them, that precautionary principle is one of those ones where we like to at least make sure we have a definition that people can agree what it means.
Okay, now my next item is 6. Oh, yes, sorry.
Trustee Bennett.
No, just a comment. I think I will certainly be very much promoting it. I have made a representation to the previous local trust committee to adopt the precaution principle. It was looked at and considered for some time, and some response had been to look at what they call the development approval information process, which is essentially a list of things that are information that we would require from anybody proposing, major development, rezoning, that kind of thing. And so there are practical ways of incorporating it. I think the challenge for us is to express it in a way that is meaningful rather than being a very like a motherhood statement. Right now we do have a provision in our OCP that says it says something like to adopt a precaution when examining activities that might have an impact. Well, that's pretty broad, and I think we can do better than that. But I do appreciate that it might be difficult to put the whole concept of the principle as being practiced around the world now into sort of more precise terms. But I think it is worth us taking another look at.
Okay, so we're looking for further clarification. All right. How many more do you have? I'm just looking at, you got lots there. Okay, so just a time check, 2:45.
I'll
And
go.
keep going. We might take a little short recess at 3. But
Okay,
basically, we have a fairly light agenda as spring agendas go, so it's probably good if we have this
Okay.
right now.
I'll forge ahead and try to limit my editorial comments. The next one deals with item 6.12.3, recommendation that's called the drainage management bylaw. Again, in the long and short of it, I don't really think this is an OCP item. I think an awful lot more work would need to be done on this recommendation in order to understand its implications, even though I'm sympathetic to the idea of what's trying to do. I just don't think this is something that really needs to be a focus of the official community plan review. So therefore, I'm going to recommend that the staff give no further consideration to item 6.12.3 of the Environment Focus Group Report on the Drainage Management Bylaw. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Ask Mark just to make a note of that this is more of a land use bylaw or a regulatory thing, so it's not something for the OCP, but it is something maybe to keep on a list or something. Okay, so you're ready to vote? All those in favor? None opposed?
Okay, that's it for me on the environment report. I'll move into energy. There's a proposal 2.1.3 that would require all new commercial tourist accommodation excluding campgrounds to be developed within containment boundaries. I don't agree with this. I think we don't know where new commercial tourist accommodation on the island might be proposed. Some of the other recommendations that we've received, I'm going to think, for example, about the need for, or the desire for, an educational and arts center, for example, might not be within one of the village containment boundaries. I don't know what other proposals there might be come down the pipe, but I don't think I'd like to limit the opportunity for new commercial tourist accommodation to be developed within the boundaries. So I'm moving that we take that item 2.1.3 of the energy report off the table.
Okay, 2.1.3.
Well, I think, George, 2.1.3 actually has a number of proposals. I think we're just picking one of them. And it was done in the context, the rationale was to, the general policy idea was to shift new development to densely settled areas, create complete communities to reduce transportation needs and protect green space. So the motivation, I think, was to try to concentrate commercial tourist accommodation into settled areas. But,
Okay, so is just to be clear with our recommendation, if you're going to make it as a motion, it's under 2.1.3, but it's one specific item, it's not
So
everything?
it's not numbered under there, but
Okay, so if you, maybe if you were to your recommendation, something like that, you remove the issue regarding campground containment boundaries.
yeah, I thought I did.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
what I'm not clear about is what's meant by settlement containment boundaries. If they're referring to, I assume you would think it would refer to the existing village cores. But
Did I misunderstand that?
excluding campgrounds.
Oh.
They thought campgrounds should
Should
be
be.
outside containment
Okay,
boundaries,
gotcha.
but except for campgrounds, that commercial tourist accommodation should be within containment boundaries. And they also talk about elsewhere in the report about the creation of containment boundaries around other settled areas, and we don't have those containment boundaries. So
I guess what I'm suggesting is that we need just clarification on what is meant by that. And I think, I don't know whether you're interpreting it to mean existing villages. So.
So if you're going to make it as a motion, just let's be clear what it is.
Yeah.
yeah.